Have you ever chosen your dog's comfort over your own space in bed without a second thought? What does it say about a person who rearranges their entire sleep position around their dog? Is it indulgence, or is something far deeper and more revealing happening in that shared space? What if sharing your bed with your dog is one of the most psychologically telling things you do? What if the people who do this every night are driven by needs most of them have never named? And what if that warm, sleeping body beside you is meeting something in you that nothing else quite can? There is a moment that happens in bedrooms around the world every single night. A person climbs into bed, the dog follows, and without deliberation, they arrange themselves around each other and sleep. Some do it from the very first night. Others resist for weeks before the dog wins a permanent spot on the mattress. Either way, the outcome is almost always the same. From the outside it looks like a simple domestic habit, unremarkable, even cliché. But from inside the psychology of that person, something layered and emotionally significant is happening. Researchers who study sleep and human-animal bonding have examined this behavior with growing attention. What they found consistently defies the idea that sharing your bed with a dog is merely indulgence. Sharing your bed with your dog is not just about comfort. It is about attachment, about safety, about the particular quality of closeness that human beings need in order to rest deeply. The people who do it tend to share something, not lifestyle or demographics, but a specific emotional orientation toward connection, toward warmth, and toward what it means to truly feel at home. This is not peripheral. It reveals, if we look carefully, what a person needs to feel genuinely safe and at rest in the world. The real question is not whether sharing your bed with your dog is wise or hygienic. The real question is, what does it tell us about the person who cannot imagine sleeping without them? What is the difference between the person who keeps the dog off the bed and the person who cannot draw that line? Who would feel something genuine was missing if that warm body were not there? Is it personality? Attachment history? Or is it the quiet, unclaimed truth that some people need a certain kind of presence beside them to allow the night to feel genuinely safe? What does it mean to need that presence? Is it a need worth examining with curiosity rather than embarrassment? A window into something real and important about the person who feels it? For millions of people, the question of whether to share their bed with their dog is not really a question. It is simply what they do. And the why runs very deep. Understanding this psychology is understanding something profound about human longing, about the architecture of safety, and about what closeness truly means. Sleep demands surrender. It requires the conscious mind to release control and allow the self to become vulnerable. And that vulnerability requires a felt sense of safety. And that understanding begins not with judgment, but with genuine curiosity about what the bed represents, and why sharing it with a dog feels so fundamentally right. This surrender only happens when the brain believes the environment is safe, not through rational calculation, but through a deeply felt assessment of whether this particular night can be trusted. For many people, that assessment is complicated. Anxiety, hypervigilance, grief. These alter the brain's willingness to surrender, creating a background alertness that resists the quiet the night requires. A dog in the bed addresses this in a way that is ancient and neurologically precise. The dog's warmth, breathing, and living weight communicate safety directly to the brain's threat detection system. The amygdala genuinely quiets in the presence of a trusted being. A dog who shares your bed is one of the most trusted presences your nervous system knows. Reliable, warm, and entirely without threat. For many people, the dog in the bed is the most concrete expression of this, a living, chosen presence that the body recognizes as genuinely, reliably safe. Attachment theory tells us that human beings are biologically wired for proximity to trusted others, especially during sleep, when vulnerability peaks and the need for felt safety is most acute. This need does not disappear in adulthood. It shifts and evolves. But the biological requirement for closeness during sleep remains as real in a grown adult as it was in a child. When a person shares their bed with their dog, they are meeting a genuine biological need for closeness during sleep, not as substitute for human connection, but as authentic fulfillment of an ancient requirement. Attachment theory describes the secure base, a presence that allows us to release vigilance and rest. Dogs function as secure bases with extraordinary reliability and consistency. A dog who sleeps beside you is a secure base at its most literal, warm, breathing confirmation that something trusted is keeping watch even while you cannot. Night after night, this cycle reinforces itself. The dog is there. The brain registers safety. Sleep deepens. What was once a comfort becomes a genuine neurological need. There is also the role of routine. The ritual of settling into bed together, the dog finding their spot, the mutual settling of breath and warmth, is itself deeply psychologically regulating. Routines signal safety to the brain. They tell the nervous system that the world is predictable, that this moment is like the thousands of safe moments that have come before it. The bedtime ritual becomes a nightly transition from alertness into surrender, anchored by a presence proven trustworthy across hundreds of consecutive nights. Co-regulation is the process by which one nervous system helps regulate another, calming it, grounding it, bringing it from activation into genuine rest. Humans co-regulate constantly. Parents co-regulate with children. Partners co-regulate in close relationships. And humans, research increasingly shows, co-regulate powerfully and measurably with their dogs. When you lie beside your dog and feel their breath slow and steady, your own nervous system takes the cue. Your breathing deepens. Your heart rate settles. Your body follows them into rest. This is not imagination, it is physiology. The nervous system downregulates in response to calm signals from trusted others. A sleeping dog is one of the most effective of those signals. Co-regulation with a dog is not a lesser form. For many people, it is the most consistent and reliable form of nervous system support they have ever consistently experienced. There is also the matter of oxytocin, the bonding and trust hormone that rises during moments of closeness, warmth, and physical contact with a trusted being. It is released during human-dog contact and promotes feelings of safety and well-being. Oxytocin does not distinguish between human and canine sources of warmth. It rises in response to trusted closeness. And lying beside your dog, trusted closeness is exactly what is happening. Cortisol tells the complementary story. Research shows cortisol decreases significantly during relaxed interaction with a beloved dog. In the shared bed, where that interaction is sustained through the night, the effect compounds. Human beings did not evolve to sleep alone. Sleeping in physical proximity to others was not a preference for most of human history. It was survival. The body still carries that knowledge. Dogs have been part of human sleeping arrangements for 15,000 years or more. There is archaeological evidence of humans and dogs buried together, co-sleeping as a practical and protective arrangement across cultures. The human brain has developed neurological responses to canine presence that promote calm and safety. Sleeping beside a dog is not modern indulgence. It is an ancient homecoming. All of this, the attachment theory, the neuroscience, the co-regulation, points to the same conclusion. The dog in the bed is meeting a genuine and entirely legitimate human need. When the body experiences a dog's warmth and rhythmic breathing in the night, the nervous system responds with recognition. Something ancient in it says, yes, this is how this is supposed to feel. Human sleep quality is significantly influenced by temperature. A dog's body temperature is slightly higher than a human's. They are, in the most literal sense, living warmth beside you. This living warmth, breathing, shifting, generating heat from within, activates the same comfort circuits as closeness to a trusted person. It is warmth that feels, to the nervous system, like being held. Dogs often synchronize their breathing with their owners during sleep. This respiratory entrainment, two bodies falling into rhythm, is one of the most primal forms of physiological co-regulation available. The synchronized breathing is not merely pleasant, it is regulating. It draws the human respiratory system toward the dog's slower, steadier rhythm, promoting the deep breathing that underlies quality sleep. The body has been shaped by thousands of years of sleeping beside dogs. What feels natural is natural. What feels right has been right for longer than recorded memory. Some researchers found that people who share their bed with their dog report feeling more rested, despite conventional wisdom. The sense of security, it seems, meaningfully outweighs whatever small disruptions occur. Physical closeness to a beloved dog promotes serotonin release, the neurochemical central to mood regulation, emotional stability, and the felt sense that the world is fundamentally okay. For someone carrying anxiety or the residue of a difficult day, that serotonin contribution is not trivial. It is the difference between lying awake, cycling through worries, and finally letting go. The dog in the bed does not solve the problems of the day, but it changes the neurochemical context in which those problems are held, making them feel more manageable and less consuming. Now let us talk about what sharing a bed with your dog reveals about a person's emotional world. Because this is not a neutral behavior. It speaks, quietly but clearly, to specific needs and specific histories. For many people, the dog in the bed is the most consistent warm presence they have known, because the dog's closeness is uncomplicated in ways human closeness rarely manages to be. Human closeness comes with subtext, with history, with the possibility of conflict or withdrawal, or the subtle shifts that happen when two complicated people share a space. A dog brings none of that. It simply brings itself, warmly and entirely. The dog in the bed is, biologically speaking, an effective sleep aid, not because it numbs, but because it meets the conditions the nervous system has always required for rest. For people who live alone, the dog in the bed is the primary answer to the question of warmth. Not just physical warmth, though that is real, but the felt sense of company. That felt sense matters enormously. Loneliness elevates cortisol, disrupts sleep architecture, and creates a background of distress that colors everything a person experiences. A dog in the bed does not eliminate loneliness, but it directly counters its most damaging effects: warm, living presence that the nervous system registers as genuine company through the night. For people who have experienced recent loss, the end of a relationship, a death, the dog often moves into the bed as an instinctive answer to a newly painful, present absence. Many people who share their bed with their dog carry some form of unresolved loss. The dog provides nightly reassurance that warmth and presence remain available in the world. It is a reminder, given each night without effort or intention, that the world still contains warmth, that some connections remain uncomplicated, reliable, and genuinely available. The bed is a space of profound psychological significance, the one place in most people's lives that belongs entirely to them, private and guarded. Who or what is allowed in says something important. Allowing your dog into that space is an act of the deepest trust, the kind that relaxes every guard, asks nothing in return, and opens the most private space without reservation. The dog enters that space completely, no judgment, no agenda, no history of disappointments. They simply come into your bed and become, for the night, entirely yours. Now let us consider the types of people who share their bed with their dog. The behavior is common, but the root beneath it varies in ways worth understanding. There is the comfort seeker, someone who discovered early that sleep is simply better with their dog there. No crisis, no dramatic difficulty, no turning back. For many people, the dog is the only presence they would allow into that space without conditions, without negotiation, without hidden concern about what it might cost them. For the comfort seeker, the dog in the bed is pure contentment. The end of a day, the warmth of a familiar body, the quiet pleasure of a life that contains this particular form of goodness. Then there is the anxious sleeper, someone for whom sleep has always been difficult. Racing thoughts, hypervigilance, the inability to surrender. Their dog in the bed changes everything. The dog becomes a physical anchor, something whose breathing reminds the anxious sleeper that the world is, in this moment, unhurried and unthreatening. The anxiety does not vanish, but it quiets. There is the grief carrier, someone sleeping through a loss that has not yet fully settled. The dog in the bed is what makes the night survivable, warm, present, asking nothing except to be near. There is the solo dweller, someone living alone by choice, neither lonely nor struggling, who has given their dog full access to their carefully arranged world, including the bed. For the solo dweller, the dog in the bed is chosen abundance. The dog represents the most honest and uncomplicated form that genuine connection takes in their carefully organized life. There is the healer, someone whose dog helped them through illness, depression, or trauma. The dog in the bed carries significance beyond habit. It is a rescue that ran both ways. Which of these resonates with you? You may find yourself in more than one. The psychology of the shared bed is layered, and the truest understanding of your own version is worth sitting with. What unites all of these types is not their circumstances, but their willingness to let something they love into the most private and unguarded space they have. Now let us go somewhere deeper. For many who share their bed with their dog, something older than adult reasoning is at work, formed long before they had language for what they needed. Think about the child who slept better with a pet nearby, who felt the dark ease when something warm was close, who needed that living presence as genuine comfort, not luxury, not sentimentality, but real need. For that child, the animal in the bed was not indulgence. It was the nervous system finding the form of safety it could use, not a locked door, but a warm, breathing, choosing presence. Many adults who share their bed with their dog are still that child, The one who discovered that sleep is better when not entirely alone, and who never forgot what that felt like. This is not regression. It is the nervous system honoring a truth it learned early and never revised. That rest comes more fully when a trusted presence is near, and that the dog is that presence. There is also the child who was not allowed that comfort, told to be strong, to sleep alone, to manage the night without help. That child grew into an adult who, at last, gives themselves what they always needed. The dog in the bed, for that person, is an act of quiet self-compassion, a nightly declaration that they are allowed to need warmth, to need company, to need something soft beside them in the dark. Some sleep researchers note that traditional advice against pets in the bed was based on assumptions the data increasingly challenges. What people report about sleeping with their dog defies clinical expectation. That vow, made without words, held in the body and nervous system, is what the adult honors when they pull back the covers and make space for their dog each night. Now let us consider what sharing your bed with your dog tells us about the world, and about what the dog quietly, reliably provides in a modern life that increasingly forgets to offer warmth. We live in a world that demands self-sufficiency and emotional containment, one that has made genuine physical closeness rarer and harder to access than any previous generation has known. In this world, the dog in the bed is quiet resistance, a nightly insistence on warmth and physical presence, the kind of closeness no screen or notification can replicate. If you share your bed with your dog, you are not indulgent or eccentric. You are someone whose nervous system found one of the most ancient and legitimate forms of comfort a human can have. The shared bed for all of these people is not about the dog alone. It is about the version of themselves that finally feels permitted to need, to receive, and to rest. You are someone who allows themselves to be held, by warmth, by presence, by the love of a creature who chose the same spot beside you, night after night, without needing a reason. If this resonated, please like it and subscribe. In the comments, tell us, where does your dog sleep, and what does it feel like on the nights they are not there?